Hey everybody, this is Eddy Dacius on our 14th episode. Yes, we got 14 episodes in our belt. This was great. Like usual, this episode is brought to you by Dacius Facilities Management. Dacius Facilities Management, they will manage your property with a variety of services such as cleaning, vendor management, construction. Call them now, 617-237-0106, or go online at daciusfm.com, daciusfm.com. So we have a great guest for you today. His name is Vital Garcia. Vital Garcia is from Portugal. He's a professional and he works in as an agent for life insurance. And Vital will be with us. So this is our 14th episode, and this is Eddy Dacius.
Welcome to the Divine Purpose Podcast, where we transport you along one of the more dynamic journeys of life. Have you ever been curious to know what it takes to become a successful leader? Or about knowing the secrets of life through the Bible? How about engaging in conversation where no topics are off limits? We will take you to new levels with guests who can help you grasp the importance of your calling. Now, here's your host, Eddy Dacius, founder of Dacius Facilities Management.
Hey, Mr. Vital Garcia, how are you today?
Hi, sir. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. No, thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. And one way we like to start this episode, this show, is to try to know you. You are our guest today. So what can you tell us about you?
Sometimes it's hard to even be able to answer that question in a short. I'm a man of varied backgrounds.
Okay.
Both ethnically and professionally.
Yep.
Normally, if someone asks me, I prefer to tell them I am a Christian.
Yes.
I am a God's servant.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm someone that believes that every human being, when we are born on earth, we are born with a purpose.
Oh, wow.
And we are born with a purpose not only to honor God, but also to be a blessing to other human beings, no matter the color, the background, experiences.
Wow.
But I have a multi-ethnic background, the mix from Portuguese, Cape Verdean, Angolan, and so forth.
Okay.
And my great-grandfather came to the United States in 1908.
Wow.
And so a third of my family has roots here in New England since 1908.
Wow.
So, and the other two-thirds has been coming to the United States since 1908 in different stages, different times. And some are still coming probably down the future. But I have a huge family, and my family on my dad's side, last name is Reis, like a R-E-I-S, like a king. And there are even stories that we are tied to the three special men that visit Jesus when he was born in Bethlehem. They brought the gifts.
Wow. Really?
So there are stories. That's how we got our last name, Reis, the kings, from that tradition. But that's a long story. I can't confirm that.
No, but
we are all over. We are all over. We've been all over. We have people, family, relatives all over Europe, all over Africa, all over Brazil, in America, all over. We are a big, huge family. Yes.
Wow. That's very fascinating, Garcia. To be honest, I want to know more, because one thing we lack in this podcast is to dive deeper on those topics. So can you take us how did you know about your story? So can you take us who told you? So how did you came about to know about your history with your family?
Yeah, as I say, I'm always been interested in knowing more about my ancestries, and I went back to the 1700s.
Okay.
there was a Portuguese lieutenant. His name was José Reis Borges. He was married. He was a Portuguese lieutenant, and he was assigned by the king, Portuguese king at that time,
Okay.
to go and be the head of the defense or the military at the Cape Verde Islands. So the Cape Verde Islands are a group of 9 islands that belongs to Africa, even though they're not connected to Africa.
Okay.
They are pretty much in the middle of the ocean, Atlantic Ocean. So they are between the continent of Africa and in Europe. So there are 2 stories. Some stories say that Africans from West Coast Africa used to go there, but never lived there before the white European arrived. So they used to go there just fishing or whatever.
Okay.
But of the most recognized stories that the Portuguese sailor found the island inhabited, and then during the slavery, the island was used as a refueling stage port. So pretty much they would carry slaves from the west coast of Africa and put them on islands.
Okay.
Wait for the bigger boats to carry them over to Brazil, to United States of America, to Jamaica, to Cuba.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, say again? 82.
Yeah.
82.
I'm Asian, so
To all over Caribbean and all over America. But meanwhile, they were waiting there for the big boats to come and carry the slaves. The slave master start mixing with the slaves.
yeah.
So mostly we Portuguese, but we have Dutch, we have Italians, we have French, we have Spaniards, we have all over different parts of Europe. And then that's why you find even that we have Cape Verdeans with all kind of backgrounds. You have Cape Verdean with last name Spanish, last name Portuguese, last name Dutch, last name French, due to all these mix,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but my ancestor, José Reis Borges, came there to be the head of the military with his wife and 3 sons. And those 3 sons married, and on average, they married 2-3 wives. The children married 3, 4, 5 wives.
Yeah.
And from there, I have a relative of mine, also same. We share the same ancestor. He lives in Portugal. Rui Reis Borges. Even created a big database to try to track all descendants of that family that we are part. We all share the same, and it's not finalized, not even close to. But as of right now, he found out more than 3,500 descendants of that same family.
Wow.
More than 3,500. We have a group. We have a Facebook group.
What?
Yes, he created a Facebook group.
Wow,
and every day or every other day, you see new names being added into the group. So when we are all over, we are in Africa, we are in Europe, we are in Latin America, we are in Australia, we are all over. You find people from all shades, from very, very white, blue eyes, blonde hair, to darker. So in everything between. We have because we are all over. This is talking about 17th century. Now it's 21st century. For the past four centuries,
yes,
this family been spreading all over and mixing and remixing, and it's amazing. It's amazing, really. But so I me myself and him, we've been working a lot because he found out that I'm one of those persons. I'm very curious. I would like to learn more. Okay. So we are connected. And I have a few other members, the family, trying to help him to find more information about. Because back in the day, they didn't have data, they didn't have computers, so we got to try to locate death certificates, birth certificates, and more documents like that to trace,
Wow.
But yeah, he's working. He says he's going to dedicate his entire life to updating the data and, be able to get more information as possible. So that's we find out. And then because that man, he was a Portuguese, he was assigned by the Portuguese king to go there. So we knew he was a lieutenant colonel in the army. So he had a very high position. In those days, to be associated with the king, you got to be someone responsible, someone with some connections. And then we went back. I have a document I came forward to you later on that they traced the origin of this last name R-E-I-S. In Spanish, they use R-Y-E-S. It's the same last name as well.
Wow.
So it's a branch between Spain and in Portugal, and their roots, as I said, we cannot confirm that, but the story is that we are connected to the kings that visit Jesus, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem.
That's amazing.
I don't want to say it's true, I don't know, but that's one of the stories in the family. Yeah.
Wow. Like that's an amazing story, and I think that's gonna be very interesting to find out more about your family, because at the end of the day, creating a group chat for over like 3,000, you said 3,000 people, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's not even completed. And this 3,500, I believe, is probably last year. So he still collect the names, and he does collect the names, and they put them in. He got to verify them.
Okay.
So every time you got a new clue, you got to find out, okay, who are your parents, who are your grandparents, who are your great-grandparents, to make sure, you are kind of legit, confirmed part of the family tree. Wow. Then you're going to put you in. So as I said, we are all over. Yeah.
So, Gracia, so let's go to Portugal. You said you grew up in Portugal. Can you take us there? What was it like growing up in Portugal?
Oh yeah, Portugal is a very tiny country, South Europe, and many people know about Portugal. And in the past probably 20 years, but many times, because of a very famous what people in America call soccer, overseas they call football.
Yes.
One of the most famous soccer player worldwide, and people say it's good looking, is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yes.
So Cristiano Ronaldo is Portuguese player, one of the most famous Portuguese players probably right now in the world. So he's been very successful. He started playing. I followed his career because I was in Portugal when he started. He started like at 16, 17 years old, become professional. He went to play at MU, Manchester United in England, and then later Spain. Now he's playing in Italy. So he's Portuguese because of him. But Portugal is a very small, tiny country, but a very historic country. Beautiful. Have a good. They're not rich in resources, but they have very good tourism.
Okay.
Traditionally, Europeans from North Europe, because North Europe is colder than Southern Europe. So North Europeans who buy properties or mostly come down to South Europe to spend the summer because it's hotter. The beaches are warmer. Like here in the United States, if you go to Florida, the beaches in Florida are warmer than beaches here in New England. So same thing in Europe. So people from Scandinavian, people from England, Germany, all North Europeans like to go to Portugal. The southern Portugal region is called Algarve. It's one of the best beaches in Europe. They buy houses there, buy properties there. And some of even when they retire, they come spend mostly the fall and winter down in Portugal because even though it's cold, it's not as cold as up north. And so it's a very beautiful country. And I grew up there, and I have family relatives there all over Europe, Spain, in France, in Switzerland, in England, uncles, cousins, so we spread all over. And I finished even my school there before my family relocated to the United States. So I have very good memories, still in touch with many classmates, friends, and I have relatives there, as I said. So, in fact, another thing many people don't know, this famous Cristiano Ronaldo, his grandmother was born in Cape Verde Island too. So, there's another story many people don't realize. Yes, he have a connection with the Cape Verde Islands too. But I grew up there. So growing up there, I had a very normal life, like most middle class families have. We are families of immigrants that move over there. So our parents, our uncles, moved to Europe seeking better social life for themselves and for mostly us. We were the younger, the future generation. And mostly my generation were not in Portugal mostly. Only probably the oldest people are stayed there. The young generation started moving out of Portugal. As I say, it's a very beautiful country, but limited resources. It's one of the smallest countries in Europe. So down the years, most of my cousins moved to Spain, to Switzerland, to France, to England, where they found they could have some other options. I end up here, and many also end up here in the United States.
Okay. So back then, what was it like? What did you like exactly in Portugal? Like things you used to do, you like to do?
Oh yeah. As I say, Portugal is a very beautiful country. A lot of people like to go there for tourism. It's very historic. There are a lot of castles. Back in the day, when Europeans started going overseas to discover, they call discover, found the other races and civilization, Portuguese was one of the first one. So the Portuguese, the Spaniards, the Dutch were the first one, and the French. And the English, British came back later. Even though later British become the dominant power, initially the Portuguese and Spanish were the first one going. And so Portugal is a very historic country, beautiful. They have good food, good pastry. They're very welcoming people. Any tourist visitors go to Portugal, they feel very welcoming. Of course, they have challenges like everybody else. Okay, they're not perfect place. There's no perfect world, a country, say. But I grew up like most people, playing football or soccer, outside with other children. That's the dominant sport in Portugal, all over the world outside the United States. So we play soccer, biking, playing volleyball. I grew up with sports. I've always been involved in sports. So I did boxing, I did judo, I did track, I did many sports growing up. I love sports.
Wow.
Yeah, all my life I did sports. I think the one I did the longest probably was track. I did track for 3-4 years competitively in high school, in high school. And so I grew up in a neighborhood where most people are immigrants or descendants of immigrants. So we just love to hang around. We went to same churches, participate in events, community events, and normal life. As I said, normal life, and thank God, that time crime wasn't as bad as sometimes happening today. Back in some other places, back in the day, we could spend all day outside on the street playing. Our parents wasn't worried too much that someone was going to come and try to kidnap us or do anything wrong, harm us. In fact, we prefer to walk to go to school instead of taking buses, But it was just normal life. Most people in Europe back in the day have, and I enjoyed it.
So now, the quick question I have for you: do you think? So how often do you go back, or do you visit?
Unfortunately, I don't go back as I used to, as I want to. The last time I went, I believe, was 2013. And the reason is that, with the cost of living, the cost of tickets, and I have to be married with family. So if I go myself, it's easy. One ticket. If I need to bring my family, it's a lot more expensive. Even though it's short flight, Portugal is only 6 hours away. But I have family, so 6 hours flight from Boston. You have direct flight from Boston, 6 hours.
6 hours. Wow, that's
6 hour flight. Yeah, 6 hour flight.
It's like it's more than going to Hawaii.
No, not really. Well, it's same time if you fly from Boston to LA, Los Angeles, it's 6 hours flight.
No, what I'm saying is, Hawaii it's about like 10 or 12 hours.
Oh yeah, it's shorter. It's shorter than you go Hawaii. Yeah, Hawaii is like a 14 hours, 16 hours. You got to fly 6 hours to LA, West Coast. And then you got to fly another 8 to 10 hours there. So
you're right.
It's longer to go to Hawaii to go to Portugal. There is direct flight every day from Boston to Lisbon.
Okay.
And another thing many people don't realize that if you go today to Fall River, almost half people in Fall River. If you go to New Bedford, half people in Bedford. Those are all Portuguese descendants. Because Portugal has 2 islands, the Azores and Madeira. So Portuguese from those islands been coming to the United States since the 11th century, 13th century back there. So most fishermen in the New England area are descendants of Portuguese. Is it 7, 8, 9, 10 generations? Yes.
I didn't know that.
Many people don't know that. Many people don't know that. Yeah. Many people don't know that. So we are Africans mixed with Portuguese, the Cape Verdeans and Angolans, because when the Portuguese, the big difference between the Portuguese and the French and the Spaniards and the Dutch and the British was after they left Europe to spend all over the world. The Portuguese were the first one going and the last one leaving. And the Portuguese were the one that mixed it up more with natives everywhere they went compared to the other ones. British didn't mix as much. You don't see many descendants of British and native countries where British were. British were in England. They didn't marry many in India. They were in Nigeria. They were in South Africa. They didn't see many, but the Portuguese mixed a lot. So everywhere they went, they mixed racially, intermarried with the locals, the natives. So that's why the countries speak Portuguese in all over the world. In fact, not only in Africa. Brazil is another one. Brazil speaks Portuguese. Brazil is the biggest country to speak Portuguese outside Portugal because they have over 200 plus million people. And they were colonized by Portugal as well. And the Portuguese, everywhere they went, they intermarried with the natives. So that's make those countries to be more racially mixed. Wow. So that's happened in Cape Verde, in Angola, Mozambique, Guinea-Bissau, Saint Tomé Islands, and Brazil. So
it makes sense. It makes sense what you're saying, and definitely. But let's take a 360 on. Okay, so now you left Portugal to be in the United States. How was this transition?
It wasn't really I can't say bad or hard. It was just about 21 years ago. So what many people don't realize, if you grew up in Europe, or mostly people grow up outside the United States of America, you know a lot about the United States of America before you move here. A lot. Yeah. And
Really?
sometimes you don't even know than people.
What did you know?
Yes, sometimes you know even more than people that are born and raised in the United States of America.
Can you give me an example?
Yes, you know why? Because the education system overseas, in Latin America, Europe, Africa, Asia, they incorporate what most people would call world geography, world history, a little bit more than what is taught in the United States of America.
Okay.
So if you finish a middle school in Europe, in Africa, Latin America, in Asia, you know a lot more about the world history, world geography, than probably most middle school in the United States would know. Because in the United States of America,
you're right. You're right.
So when I finished my middle school in Portugal, I knew all about a lot the major topics of the history of United America. You know it. They want to teach you how the United States of America started, how it was free from British England. You're going to know about a little bit about the Constitution of America, about the history of slavery in America, the issues of racial issue, everything that many people born in America don't learn those things unless you go to college or you decide to learn yourself or you have family members that don't talk to you about it. People overseas knows that. Some European countries today, they start teaching their kids, they start teaching their kids the English language at first grade. Many European countries do that. You know, the Scandinavians, like Norway, Denmark, Switzerland, Sweden, Finland, those countries, when the kids finish middle school, they're all fluent in English. English there is like a second language for them, besides their native language. So today, many people moving to Latin America, they know a lot about Latin America. They know the good things, the less good things, they know, they know the history, the geography, they know America has 50 states. They know all these things. I knew all these things before coming to Latin America. I didn't learn them in America.
I can attest to this because, like I said, I grew up in Haiti, and I knew a lot in terms of. I spoke English back in Haiti, and learning English from high school. We had to take English and Spanish too. So French is our official language. But definitely, and I understand. But where I was at is mostly the actual transition, where you're not in your country anymore and there's a new way of living here you need to be accustomed to.
Yeah, for me, as I said, of course, you live in a country where the language is English, everybody spoke English, but as I say, English, it was an issue for me. I grew up in Portugal. When you go to 6th grade, middle school, you got to take what's called one foreign language. You pick English or French. I took English. When you go to high school, you need to add another second foreign language. I had French. So I studied English from 6th grade to 12th grade. Then I studied French in the high school. So in high school, I had both English and French. Even though my French today is not as good as it used to be. But I was very good in French. I can still speak basic words. I can keep saying, comment tu t'appelles, comment allez-vous, qu'est-ce que vous faites dans la vie. Few basic stuff I can manage. And another advantage, because many people don't know this as well, you know, if you speak one of the Roman language fluently, like Portuguese or Spanish or French, Italian, there are another 14, 16 languages all combined. They're all rooted in Latin. The base is Latin. So like you, I know people from Asian speaks French. I speak Portuguese. I also speak Spanish. If you speak any one of these languages, it's pretty easy for you to learn other languages because the base is Latin, right? It's easy to learn. So it's not hard because you know the basic grammar structure, make it easier for you. So me coming here, I already knew how to speak English. I didn't learn English here. Some people come to go thinking I didn't. I knew English, you know. My major challenge was pretty much maybe speaking is more fluent as I speak today. But I grew up speaking English. In fact, I went to a Bible seminary in Portugal before moving to the United States. Most of my teachers or half of my teachers were Americans.
Okay.
And they spoke to me English. I practiced English with them. So I grew up, every year I have a conference in Portugal I went to one time to Holland for a conference, International Youth Christian Conference, where the official language is English. You see, most teenagers in Europe speak English.
Yeah.
So people that grew up overseas, they come to America, they don't have issue with language because they can adapt to them. The other issue is, yes, you're going to adapt the lifestyle in America will be different. Of course, America is a huge country. The size of America is almost the size of a third or half of Europe, I'm sorry. So the time it takes you to fly East Coast, West Coast, 6 hours, is the time it takes you probably to fly from Portugal to Russia or Portugal to Austria. So like a crossing Europe, the same time it takes you to fly within the United States. That's one of the bigger challenges. This is huge, you know? So you drive by car from Portugal to the border with Spain. It's 2 hours from Lisbon. 2 hours. Here, if you want to go to Florida, you probably need 20 hours drive if you drive without stop. That's one of the bigger difference you find. You know, everything's much wide spread. Yes, bigger. It takes you longer to go from one side to other side. Of course, the language is English. Everywhere you go, people speak English, not Portuguese or Spanish, your language you're used to, you know. But other than that, the food, like American hot dogs, pizza, burgers, that's you can find in Europe, in Africa, everywhere you go. So it was an adjustment for us. As I said, because we have people coming here.
So Vital, let me ask you this. So what was the big adjustment for you? So like what things really have you, like you had a challenge to adjust to? Is it the weather? So can you tell us what was it?
The weather in New England, yes. The weather in New England is cooler. I spent 14 years in the South. In Texas, Louisiana, mostly Louisiana.
Yeah.
I graduated from LSU, Louisiana. I did my master's in Louisiana. So I spent most of my time in the South. And the reason why I didn't want to move to North, even though most of my family's relatives are here in New England, is cold weather. I like cold weather. And I like snow, really. I enjoy snow and cold weather. But I like snow only 2 weeks. Christmas and New Year. Only.
Okay.
Give me snow only during the holidays. I like what they call white Christmas.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's what I like. I like see the road street.
Oh man, that would be hard, man.
But other than that, because it's too much work for you to go up every morning, clean the cars.
Clean your car.
And if you live in Boston,
driveway. Yeah,
clean your driveway and then reserve your driveway and be lucky that someone won't try to steal it from you. So for me, probably the big adjustment will be that. Not that the cold, I don't have issue with cold, but when it snows too much, just the hazard, the work that come with it, I didn't like it too much. But other than that, I didn't have issues, like racially, some people maybe come from a place where they're not used to deal with different race background. Yeah. That's not my issue, because I come from a family where we have all kind of races. I have my sister. One of my sisters married a white man. As I tell you, my great grandfather was a white man. So for people like me and many people like us, you come from a multi-ethnic background family.
Yes.
I grew up, for instance, speaking Portuguese, Spanish, Cape Verdean Creole. So I grew up in a family where people spoke to me 3-4 languages at the same time. I can talk to this one in Spanish, and then turn around speak someone in Portuguese, and turn around speak to someone in Cape Verdean Creole. Yes. So I grew up with white family members, white, blue eyes, blonde hair, and darker than me, and some in between. So for me, it was not an issue.
Yeah.
Racially, like some people might have. And food was not an issue because I saw those food before. So as I said, the bigger challenge is probably just everything is far spread. You got to, I used to go drive maybe 1 hour or half an hour to go to the beach. Now if you want a nice beach, a warm beach, I got to go many more hours. In the cold weather, it snows more. Like Lisbon doesn't snow as much like in North Portugal. Overall, Portugal doesn't snow. It's not a country cold. The weather is not as cold as here. Some places snows, but overall, most countries doesn't snow. Maybe that. But as I say, in terms of adjustment to people, to the culture,
you didn't have. That's great. That's great to hear because, like you said, growing up speaking multiple languages give you and being around multiple type of races that kind of give you that ability to adapt quickly. But now let's take a quick turn into your education, going to college, and what was your choices, and why did you go for what you learn now?
I am somehow following my current job is not. I won't say it's not connected, but it's not fully 100% what I went to college for. So my college was for concentration in audit, risk management.
Okay.
So out of college, I worked for ExxonMobil for almost 10 years. And I was based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia for 2-3 years of that 10 years. I was working in Angola, West Africa. I've been in Brazil, I've been many places for that company. So my career, most of my career, probably 70%, has been in risk management, auditing, accounting, and finance. That's what I did most of my life before I relocated back to Boston in 2016. So, and I relocated back to Boston for family reasons. A family member sick. So I had to be back close to my family member to assist in the situation that my family was facing. And but I love doing it. And probably I thought I would do that for the rest of my life, for the rest of my career. But as I said, for family reasons, I had to relocate to Boston. And then when I relocated to Boston, I wasn't sure at the beginning what to do. Should I keep going, doing what I'm doing, or do something else? So I ended up doing a little bit what I was doing, accounting, finance, but I started looking, okay, something that gives me flexibility in terms of more independence. I can manage my schedule a little bit easier.
Yep.
And give me a little bit more out control, me deciding, that's when someone approached me about working for New York Life. And to be honest with you, first time someone contacted me was in 2016.
Okay.
And I say, hey, thank you. They have in New York Life, they have what they call a fast path to management. And that's most for people that already have MBA, master's degree, and I do have a master's degree, MBA. So that's why the person reached out to me, say, you have a master's degree, I like your experiences, working in oil and gas company for almost first 14, 15 years of my career, oil and gas company. He say, I see your background, I like you, it looks that you are very good, you are a good fit. But like most people today, if you tell them the word New York Life, the first thing comes to their mind is insurance, life insurance. Okay? And somehow it's true. Somehow it's true. Yes. It's one of the major services they provide. New York Life, we provide. Yeah. Okay? But it's not that we only do that. We do a lot more than that. So I have that idea too. Okay, to go sell life insurance, I'm not interested. So I didn't want to join as a thank you. But then last year, a door opened again, and then I was contacted again. And this time I asked questions more that I should have asked probably 3-4 years ago. Okay, what really you do, how you do it, etc. And then the more they explained to me, I realized, okay, yes, they do life insurance, but it's not the only thing. And some of our employees don't even do life insurance. They only do something else. They do more financial, like investments. They do more mutual funds.
Wow.
They do more 401ks. They do more RIAs. That's called for individual retirement account. RIA. Wow. There are two kinds. You have the traditional one, you have the Roth one. So some people just specialize in long-term care. Some people specialize just in college fund. So we have so much services, so much other things we can do than just life insurance. Of course, we do life insurance. Yeah, it's one of our main services we provide. But we don't just do that. So after that, I understood. Oh, wait a minute, it's not only that. And people like me come from the accounting, finance background, risk management. I consider myself a numbers guy, numbers person. So for me, it's okay. If I can go there, I can do more than just life insurance. I can do a lot of work related to numbers. And I like working in investments.
Oh.
I like working in managing portfolios. You can do for companies, for individuals, for families. So after I understood better, what they do, how they do it, I said, well, wait a second, I like this. That's why I decided then to, okay, I'm going to join in. The challenge sometimes is that you got to go through the certification process.
Yeah. So what can you tell us about that? Because I heard it's kind of a challenging situation, or to kind of go to get to professionally to get where you want to be, you need to be certified for a lot of services to provide. Is that true?
Yes. So what many people don't realize is that the insurance business industry, it is one of the most regulated business in the United States. And there's a good reason for it. Some people can make mistakes. Some people could be an unintentional mistake. They didn't want to. It just happened because they didn't know what they was doing, or they did something they thought was right. But some people may try to take advantage, That's why they had to put the rules in place to ensure anyone that's going to be involved in this kind of business, they're properly trained, they know what they're doing, and they know the boundaries, and they will always take in consideration the good of the client. Okay, so the history of the industry is that same thing like all the stock investments, because the life insurance industry or investment industry, they kind of are tied. When the government start the stock market after the collapse during the First World War, like 1960s, 1917s, 19s, then the collapse happened. Later on, they decided to start they'll call the act to start the stock exchange markets. They realized, hey, if we don't have rules, people gonna play around. They can take advantage of people that are not knowledgeable. They don't understand very well how to manage portfolio investments. So to avoid that, they put rules. So the same thing applies to our industry as a life insurance, if you want to do insurance, particularly specific. So for you to become an agent with New York Life or any insurance company, you go through an extended background process. Yes.
Wow. You
got to go, they take your 10 fingerprint, check your background. You cannot have any
red flag.
Oh yes. For instance,
no red flags, right?
If you've been in jail for a crime you committed, normally you don't qualify to work for any insurance company. You got to wait 10 years after you finish your sentence before you can qualify just to work for insurance company. 10 years. So I mean, you got to be in good standing. You got to be a law-abiding citizen before they even hire you. Okay? So
wow.
That's to help any clients understand when you're talking to a life agent, insurance agent, or any agent for these major companies, these people being vetted. They got to be vetted first before even they hire. And after you hire, before you can do services, you got to be licensed. That means for every service, like the license for life insurance is not the same license for health insurance. So you got to pass each one, yes, individually. So you got to study, take exam. The exam is not done by us, it's done by a third-party company. All right, you pass the exam, then you can request a license to be doing like a life insurance.
But
okay?
Vital,
Yes.
so why? Okay, and what you just said so makes sense, and this is new information for me personally. But why there's that fear of life insurance agent? People still feel they shouldn't be trusted. I don't know if you ever encountered this situation where they don't trust life insurance agent people because they think they're gonna come here and then take advantage of them or take their money.
Yes, and as I say, those concerns are legit, and I do understand them. I have nothing against them, and no good agent should fear them as well. But personally, I believe there are many reasons. Of course, I think one of the main reasons is just lack of knowledge, understanding. Okay, because we as human beings, our normal tendency is we base our current, present experiences and future decisions based on our experiences, something that happened in the past. If someone tells a bad story about someone that did something wrong, we keep that inside our mind. And every time we hear that word or that person, we associate it with the bad story someone told us before. We say, well, yeah, I don't like it because I think it's bad. Okay, is it first impression? So many people made mistakes in the past, or they heard bad stories about life insurance, and they assume that because it happened before, it won't happen to me. Well, that's not the case. You know, many of us drive cars, we have car accidents, but we never stop driving car after a car accident, right? We keep driving the car. Why? Because we understand just because I have a car accident doesn't mean that they're going to happen every day. Okay. And they don't happen every day. You know what I mean? So I think because we have understanding that car accident is going to happen, but not every day. And when it happens, they're more like an exception than norm. So because we have a good knowledge and understand of that, it gives us confidence, even after car accidents, to go back and keep driving. Well, that same thing is needed for people to understand. The more people know about the qualifications of life insurance agents,
okay,
to understand these people are professionals. Well, assuming that they're coming from very good standing companies, okay? And there's a difference because there are many companies there, but overall companies, it got to be in a good standing because there is an administrator that manages, okay, all agents in all companies. Okay. And if we violate the rules, it can be fined. Yeah. They can take your license and even can go to jail. All right. Okay. So what I would tell people, don't be fear to talk to an agent. Of course, if you talk to them, you don't feel comfortable or you heard something you don't like, you don't appreciate, or raise you any concerns, just say, okay, I'll talk to you later. And you can call the company or look for a second opinion. They tell you something that raise you some red flags, you're not comfortable, you're not really sure, take a note. Say, hey, thank you. I don't want to take any decisions today. I'll talk to you later. And go look for another second or third opinion. Talk to another agent in a different company. Okay? Say, listen, I heard about this one. You don't even need to mention who you talk to or what company. Just say, someone told me that insurance company do this. Is that true? Or you yourself can go Google out. Today with the internet, you can go on the internet and Google out. And probably, if it's not true, you probably want to find out it's not true. Okay? I don't want to say that agents don't make mistakes. We do. I don't want to say there are some are bad agents. Yes. Sometimes some agents do bad things. They do things they know they're not supposed to do, and they do mistakes. But this is happening in all professions. Some doctors made mistakes. Not because they want to, but some even because they want to too. Okay. So some teachers do mistakes. So there is no profession where people don't make mistakes. Same thing going to happen to insurance.
Well said. But
you cannot deny everybody else because of some do mistakes. You know what I mean?
Nah, and I appreciate it. I appreciate this answer. But now it's time for hot topic. Hot topics. It's a segment where we talk about questions people don't have a chance to talk, and we have Vital Garcia with us. He's an agent from New York Life Insurance. So Vital, so the first question will be for you is like, all a life insurance policy pays out?
No. Yes and no. That's right. Yes and no. So life insurance, there are normally two main categories of life insurance. There are a lot of life insurance. Life insurance bundle, if I can say, is huge. There's a lot of options inside. Okay, I don't have time to go through all of them, but the main way to differentiate, there are ones we call permanent life insurance or life. There's one we call temporary or term life insurances. And the main difference is that the term or temporary life insurances, they're bound by time period. It can be 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. They have a time limit. And they're normally cheaper. Okay, the reason many people take them because they're cheaper than the other ones, the permanent ones. And because they don't give you as much benefit than the other ones. Pretty much the only benefit you got from the temporary life, is what they call the face amount, or the amount you're going to receive if the person insured dies. Okay, and that one is cheaper, and there are reasons why people were selected that. So if you compare buying a house and renting a home, same thing. Okay, so a whole life or permanent insurance, like you buying a house, you pay the mortgage, it takes longer sometimes, it's more expensive, but the house will be yours for life. It's yours. You can pass it on to your children, grandchildren, or whatever. And the renting a house is not yours. You pay the money, you pay the rent, and one day you leave, you don't renew, then you leave, but the house stays. The house belongs to you. So temporary insurances, if the person insured dies within the time period when the insurance, and so I'm just silencing myself on here. If the person died within the 10-year, 20-year period life insurance, they're going to receive the payout. Okay. But if the person doesn't die, they don't. But if you do a term life, or life that is permanent, you're always going to get paid, because permanent doesn't matter when you die. It's permanent, guaranteed. Whatever the person died at age 6, at age 1 year, 1 day after that, or whatever, until you die. Yeah, that's the main difference. But so it's payout normally, but temporary, if the person died within that time period. Yes.
So what is an underwriter, and why do we need the one?
Okay, there are many riders, and the riders, they kind of supplement to the life insurance, and some of riders are free. At least I can talk about New York Life. I can talk about other companies. Okay, some riders are free, mean they automatically included in your insurance. Like one rider that in New York is free is the rider to convert. I mean, if you buy a temporary life insurance and later on you want to convert it, all of it to a permanent life insurance, or some of it to a permanent insurance, like a 50%, 20%, 10%, whatever amount, okay? Or all of it, or part of it, or at the end of the term life insurance, you want to renew it, it comes for free. You don't need to pay for that, all right? But there are other riders that you pay for. And the reason why is just to give you some additional option. For instance, there's a rider to say you can add your spouse or your partner.
Yeah.
So you are paying a little bit extra to say that down in the future, in 10, 15 years, if I want to add my wife, my husband, my partner into this rider, to be able to do that, you'll have to do that. Or add your children into the policy down the road, all right? Or other riders are to allow you to be able to increase the amount, face amount of your policy. You pay that little rider. So every couple of years, every 3 years, you have the right to say, I'm going to add $50,000 more to my policy.
Okay.
And you are allowed to do that. So the right is just to help you complement certain changes that you might want to do down the road. Yes.
So now the question is, how do you choose a beneficiary?
Yes.
How do you choose one? Like, what's the best way to choose one, and who should be your beneficiary?
You can choose anyone you want to be beneficiary. Well, anyone in a way, yeah. But normally it need to be someone associated with you, preferentially, like a family member, relative. Can be spouse, can be children, it can be parents, it can be grandparents, things like that. But there are some criteria you need to take in consideration. Number one, if you're going to choose a beneficiary that is minor, that's not even 18 years old. Let's say that the insured passed away. Now the insurance company got to issue a check, $100,000, $500,000 to someone that is a minor. He's not even 18. Can you see that person that's 12 years old? Now you got to hand a $500,000 check or $1 million check. They're not old enough to do that.
Okay.
So ideally, you want to put a beneficiary that is at least 18 because he's old enough to know if something happened, you got that check to be able to know what to do with the check and do exactly what he's supposed to do with the check. You don't want to use it because if you put to a minor, then probably you won't end up going to the court. To go through the court to make sure that whoever, because the court is going to make sure they don't want that someone going to take his money and go and waste it, spend it all in the wrong things, and the beneficiary might never even get the benefit of the money that was left for them. So yes, you're going to be sure you talk to your agent, to discuss when you got about to decide who should be your best beneficiary.
All right.
And like in New York Life, most of the time beside your first beneficiary, we have a second beneficiary, like a backup.
Okay.
Because sometimes your first beneficiary might not be around when time comes to get the payment.
Okay.
Check. So yes.
So let's say both beneficiaries are not available. What happens to the check?
If none of the beneficiaries are available, and you in your will didn't state anything in your will to say that in event your beneficiaries are not available, you want the check to be given to your state. Normally, depending on the state, and there's another thing that different states have different policies. So that's why one thing we also do, and this is what is very important for people to understand, that when you talk, for me, for instance, if you talk to someone for New York Life, you don't talk to someone that sells life insurance. At New York Life, we are trained to be financial advisors, like myself. So a financial advisor does not only sell you life insurance. They're trying to help you to have a financial plan to help you secure and guarantee that when you retire, assets to provide you the lifestyle that you want to have when you retire. And then if one day you're not around, your assets, okay, will be passed on, called part of legacy, to whoever you want it to be passed on, all right? Your children, grandchildren, or whoever is person. So yes, some companies, the agent only do life insurance because that's only what they do. And pretty much that's all. We in New York Life, we do more than that.
Okay.
I do life insurance, yes, but I don't see myself just as a life insurance seller. I'm a professional financial professional, financial advisor. So I help people with life insurance if they need to, definitely. It's important. But I'm also helping people with long-term care planning. I can help people with the college funding for their children, retirement accounts, So when I talk to my clients, I don't just say, hey, you want to buy life insurance? How much you need? No, I cannot do that because my goal is to help my clients prepare themselves.
Yeah.
What's the life insurance goal is? It's not just to give you money when someone dies. It's to use it as a tool to help someone build a good financial plan. So when I speak to my clients, I don't say, hey, you want to buy life insurance? Buy this. No, I don't do that. What I want to know, ask them, sir, ma'am, what are your financial goals? Okay. Are you guaranteed? When you retire, do you have guaranteed income? Another thing, for instance, many people don't know. If you take your Social Security, you can start taking Social Security when you're 62 years old. But if you start taking it at 62 years old, you pretty much you're losing 6 to 8% a year. if you start taking it at 62 years old. You rather should wait until at least 66 to start taking it, because you lose money, or even better, at 70. The longer you wait to start taking Social Security, you get more full pay out of your Social Security than if you start at 62. So people start taking 62, they're leaving behind 6 to 8% a year of that money.
Wow,
So when I talk to my client, I want to understand, do you have Social Security? When you plan to take it? And tell them, help handle them, teach them, listen, if you don't need to take it at age 62, wait until 66, or better, wait until 70. Because the longer you wait, more money you're going to receive. So if you start taking it at 62, you're going to take maybe $12,000 a year. But if you wait until you are 66, maybe that 12 become $18,000 a year. But if you wait until you're 70, maybe the 18 will become $24,000 a year. So you are losing $6,000, $8,000 a year. Plus, because you take it earlier. People don't know this, you know? So another thing people don't understand, if people come and talk to me, I want to say, okay, how are you going to survive when you retire? You just going to live in your Social Security? You don't have anything else?
We had an episode with Barry Brownstein. He's a 40 years engineer, and he has a second career as a photographer. So after retirement, he kept working, but he went to do something else, which is very fascinating. You can check it online on DPPodcast.com or YouTube on that episode. So my question for you now is, how does your religious background help you go to your day-to-day job?
Yes, my background definitely helped me out. To do the kind of job I'm doing right now, you need to be willing to talk to people, meet people. There's no way you're going to be successful in this job if you don't talk to people, because you got to meet clients, talk to them, either by phone, by Zoom, and in person. Preferentially in person, because you can sometimes, I believe Zoom is okay, and sometimes you got to use Zoom, and thank God for Zoom that you do during COVID, you know. But every time it's possible to be close or face-to-face, I think it's better, because you build a better, for me, as I said, the way we train in New York Lab and the way I see my business, it's not just us helping people to buy something they like and they need, service or product, but it's building a relationship, okay? So if you want to build a relationship, you need to meet people, know what they like, what they don't like, and let them know you, to trust you. Because most businesses are effective when the people involved in the business trust each other. There got to be a trust, a certain level of trust.
Yeah, trust.
Otherwise, you cannot be successful in the business. So by working in an oil company, like I work for ExxonMobil, I work for another is the largest private-owned logistics and supply company in the United States of America, offshore company, the Edson Suez Offshore. And I learned to deal with different kind of jobs. At one time, I was managing, $100,000, $1 million a year asset. So I learned through my careers that you need to treat other people the way you like to be treated. And always give people the benefit of doubt. If they do something you don't understand, you don't like, don't assume right away they did it with the wrong intention. Okay? Try to put yourself in other people's shoes, because you don't know. The more you know them, you might understand them why they do certain things. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the benefit of the doubt,
Yes. Because, for instance, today, my meeting is supposed to be a different time with you. Then I reached you logistics to find a room. Then I call you, we talk to you, and you were very accommodating to reschedule it today, just a couple hours, 1 hour later, or half an hour later. Give me benefit of doubt.
Yeah.
Because you say, okay, I don't know, but if he's asking me something happening, I got to do that. This is supposed to be in a business, So you got to be willing to talk to people. You got to be willing to accept people as they are, respect people, give them benefit of doubt. And you got to be able to also, be someone that you make people understand that you are not there to scam them, to take advantage of them, but really to help them. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's another fear many people have. Many people have fear talking to a agent or financial advisor or particularly life insurance agent, because assuming you just trying to sell me life insurance and they want to try to take advantage of me. Maybe even if I pay this premium and then I die, maybe my family won't even see the money, and so on and so on. Well, I want to tell you, this is very unlikely going to happen. Again, I repeat, it's very unlikely that if your family member that is insured and his policy, life insurance policy, is active, means valid, if they die, they won't receive the money. Very unlikely. This is going to happen only if when they die, they didn't have no first beneficiary, no second beneficiary, and they didn't left a will to say, if my beneficiaries are not around, I need my life insurance, that benefit, to be part of my asset. All right? Because if you say that, they're going to put it part of all your assets, and then whatever you put in your will, you're going to get that money. Okay. So there are very rare cases that someone that died and did what they said, if beneficiaries or whatever, the will specifically stating how the money to receive that didn't get the money. That's a very rare cases. Very rare cases. So yes, and again, insurance agent can do mistakes. As I say, some do it unintentionally or intentionally, but if they do it intentionally, I can guarantee you they're going to be caught. They're suspended, depending on the gravity of the situation. They can be fined up to $10,000, and they can be prosecuted and go to jail. Okay, so only people to understand that you shouldn't be afraid. You should always be comfortable. And if you feel that the insurance agent is pushing you to do something you don't want to do, they say, "Thank you, sir. I don't want to do it. Don't do it." Okay, or they ask you, they say something you feel red flag. Write it down. Say, "I want to talk to you later," and go verify that information with someone else, a second, third party. Call someone else to verify the information.
Definitely. So now, I understand you want to promote a product, right?
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
So what I really want to tell your audience, and thank you for the opportunity again. I would like to tell people that New York Life really want to help the first responders, specifically people involved in work in hospital. Okay, it can be a doctor, can be a nurse, anyone work in hospital, and that you have a family member that died. So New York Life create what they call this heart. They call it heart. Because it is Heart of Brave. It's called Heart of Brave. The Brave of Heart. I'm sorry, the Brave of Heart Fund. So this fund is to help families that their loved ones work at hospital, doctors, nurses, any type of job in hospital, and those people pass away, they died due to COVID, not to any other reason. It got to be died due to COVID. So if you have a family member that it got to be related to you, mom, dad, siblings, that died due to COVID, or spouses, okay? I want you to reach out to New York Life. You can reach out to me, and you can get my contact through this podcast, or you can reach out, contact to any New York Life. So this fund, last time I saw, had about $60 million. $60 million in this fund. So they split in two groups, 50 million first group, and then 45 million second group. So the 50 million first part is to help specifically with the funeral. So if you need help to pay for funeral expenses of a loved one that died of COVID, and that person worked for the hospital, doctor, nurses, any kind of job in hospital, the 50 million fund is to help with this. Help you. It's kind of loan at very low interest rate. Okay. To go borrow. Okay. The only qualification is that your relative died with COVID and they work at the hospital. Okay. Don't check your credit history. Don't check your other requirements. As if you go in a bank, they're going to ask you for credit card. No, the goal is to help families of loved ones that die with COVID, and those loved ones who work at the hospital. They're first responders, okay? So the $50 million first group is just to help you pay for the funeral expenses. The second group is $45 million as well. That $45 million is to help with the other cost of living expenses. Like if a parent died, one of the parents died, now the other parent is widow, and then he got to raise his kids. And the income of the employee, hospital employee that is dead now, was a big support for them. And unfortunately, they need somehow help. So the 45 million fund is to help with those expenses, the cost of living expenses, So I ask everyone, if not you or you have a family, a friend, a neighbor, a church friend that might know someone that died with COVID and their families right now need help, please reach out to New York Life, reach out to me, or go on the internet and type it, okay? And type it there, it's a Heart of Brave, okay? It's a good New York fund just to help, okay? You don't need to buy any product to New York Life to qualify. You don't need to be a New York Life client to qualify, right? There's no requirement that for you to receive this help, assistance, you got to be part of New York Life. You need to buy a product. No, nothing. The only thing you need, 2 requirements. You got to be relative of that person that passed away, and that person passed away, worked at the hospital, you're a healthcare worker, and they died with COVID. Of course, you're going to need that certificate to prove that, okay? But other than that, you don't need to buy any New York product, New York services. You don't need to be a New York agent. And you got to be, of course, based resident of the United States state territory. So any one of the 50 states in the United States of America, okay? So please, it's something that New York Life is very engaged, and New York Life want to help our first responders, their families. That's why they set up this fund available. But the deadline is until end of this year.
Okay.
So this is still in July. So we have pretty much another 5 months plus, a couple of days. Today's 27, so 5 months and 4 days. You have until the 31st of December, 2021 to apply for this fund. All right. So go to New York Life, Heart of Brave, look it out. If you need questions, you can reach out to me or any New York Life agent. They should be able to assist you with that. Thank you for that.
All right. Thank you. Well said. So last word for you, Vital Garcia.
Thank you, the Divine Purpose Podcast, for the great opportunity. Thank you, my dear brother and friend, Eddy, for giving me this opportunity to share my story and be in your podcast. And I'm looking forward to keep working with you in the future. And I hope your audience is going to be blessed and they're going to learn something from my life, from my background, my ancestry, and my career. And again, don't be afraid of New York Life or life insurance agents, because even though some might make mistakes, overall of us, we are available, trained to help you. Our main goal is to help our clients, because we benefit more when our clients do well than when they do bad. All right. So if you have questions, just ask. If you're not sure, take a pause and go look for second, third opinion. There's no law that forces United America that every time you meet an agent, you need right away, right there, do what they're telling you. In fact, at New York Life, we are trained that we don't decide for our clients. We do recommendations. We identify their needs. Based according to their needs, we do recommendations. We let them decide. So our goal is to help our clients. It's not to hurt them or do anything wrong to them. Thank you.
Well said. Appreciate it, Vital Garcia. This is our 14th episode. This episode is brought to you by Dacius Facilities Management. This is Eddy Dacius. Every Wednesday, we're gonna have a new episode. You can check us online at DPPodcast.com, on YouTube, DP Podcast Live, and on Twitter, Facebook, And if you want to listen to our podcast, you can go on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon, DP Podcast Live. Thank you and have a great day. See you guys next.
Hey, thank you for watching the Divine Purpose Podcast on YouTube. For more streaming with interesting guests and premium content, subscribe now on DP Podcast Live.